On this episode of Dskate presents Gametime, we sit down with Kaleb Dahlgren. Kaleb is a person living with type 1 diabetes who plays for the York Men's University hockey team and is the founder of the Dahlgren's Diabeauties. Enjoy, guys. Welcome to Dskate Gametime interview series featuring myself and Essa Gamble. Our goal at Dskate is to promote diabetes awareness within the athletic community, and today we have the pleasure of talking to Kaleb Dahlgren.
All right, my name is Kaleb Dahlgren. I've been a type 1 diabetic myself for 19 years. I have my own program called Dahlgren's Diabeauties and also have also a national ambassador at JDRF. I also work with Dskate all the time and Diabetes Canada. So I'm all involved in the diabetic community there. And right now, today I'm in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, and it's a beautiful day.
Awesome. We're gonna talk about your hockey career. So how did you get involved in hockey?
Well, when I was a 1-year-old child, I got a mini stick for Christmas, and I started stick handling with a little ball. And that was when I fell in love with it. My dad put me in skates when I was 2. And I never looked back since then. I absolutely loved it. And I think my favorite reason why I got involved was that I liked the wind going through my hair. That was like the thing that I loved. I had long hair at the time. I was rocking a little mullet, and I just loved the wind going through my hair. So,
Yeah.
And then the ways my skates make. So those are the two pillars that I loved about hockey that got me involved.
That's sweet. Yeah, that was one of my reasons. My mom asked me, and she was like, "Why do you like it?" I was like, "Well, I can go really fast, and I can stop moving, and I'll still go." But yeah, it's just being lazy. But I guess those wings now, that's just gonna fly in the wind for you.
%. Even if I go for rollerblades and they just fly. It's awesome. I feel like I'm 2 again.
Yeah. So throughout that, can you continue who have you played in the past and who you play for today?
So growing up, I played at the highest level possible. I played citywide in Saskatoon, as it's called, which is all of the city combined on 6 teams. And then I also played summer hockey, and I played midget AAA when I was 16. I moved away from home and played North Battleford there. It's an hour away from Saskatoon. And then my 17-year-old year, Notre Dame Hounds asked me to play for them. I turned them down, actually. I was supposed to be at school with your friend Amber Rennie and Emma Yanko, but I turned it down there. And I decided to take another year of AAA. So I played AAA when I was 17 again. And then my 18, 19-year-old year, I played Notre Dame, was assistant captain my second year. And then my last year, I got traded to Humboldt, started Dahlgren's Diabeauties there and was assistant captain there as well. And then got a scholarship to York University, where I'm at right now.
So what was it like, leaving home and living in the dorm and, taking care of your diabetes while playing?
Yeah, so one of the big things when I was 16 was trying to understand, obviously I was on my own there in North Battleford, no parents. My billet mom didn't know much about diabetes at all. She didn't know really anything. So I was on my own there, which was awesome. I think it was I think it was the best thing I could have done for myself because I had developed as a man and I matured as an individual. I was looking after my diabetes since I was 13 anyways. Mm. But this was another step because I had to manage my diabetes. I had to go to bed on my own time. Never had parents on my back saying, "Hey, have you done this? Have you done that?" It was just, you're on your own and you got to do what you got to do the best. And so I think that was a really big, challenging but good time for me and to develop. And then Notre Dame, it was different because we had cafeteria food and it wasn't just homemade cooked meals that you knew what was in it.
Yeah.
So cafeteria food was a bit of a challenge as well because you don't know what's in it exactly. You don't know what kind of boxes they use, what kind of ingredients were in there, if they added sugar or not. So that was a big adjustment for the first couple weeks, I'd say, once I kind of got the hang of it and started guessing and was good with the guesses. So I think those were 2 good experiences for sure of managing my diabetes on my own and definitely helped me mature as an individual.
Yeah, that's for sure. I went to boarding school too, and I also have celiac disease, so I was the cafeteria staff. I made friends with them. That's my best advice for anyone going to school. And honestly. Yeah, and I actually I played on an outside hockey team, and they were so good. They would actually make my separate meal, and I'd miss like dinner time, and they'd leave it outside, and they put my name on it, so then I'd had dinner. And then one of them like got into carb counting, and like he would like put how many carbs he thought was in it, and it was like so nice of them. I thought that was like incredible. How do you approach your diabetes with your teammates?
So that's a good question. So with my teammates, when I was younger, it was way different than it is now.
Mm-hmm.
When I was about like 6, 7, 8 in that range, a lot of them had no clue what it was, but we try to make it fun. My parents were always super there and supportive for me and always had my back. And my dad was always like the manager, assistant coach of the team, just so that he could be there in case I needed something. So I didn't really have to introduce it too much to my friends or my teammates at the time. But my friends all knew I had diabetes. And so what we do for fun was when I checked my blood sugar, I had to poke my finger at the time. Now people just have their little on their phone. By the time I had to poke my finger, and we'd guess what my blood sugar was. And if the closest one got one Scooby Doo snack, like just not like the full snack, but like one little Scooby Doo head in the Scooby Doo snack. And so it was more of a fun thing. And my friends loved it because they got rewarded, but they also got to learn about diabetes too and how to manage it as well.
Yeah.
And so that was like really, really positive experience for me. Um, also had like some coaches say that I shouldn't play hockey because it's a super competitive sport and it's performance driven. So like where you play bowling or I guess bowling, let's say, it's more of a less competitive sport and you're not as physically endured and it's not as tiring and demanding on your body. So they were telling me that I should take up a less physical sport and a less demanding sport due to my diabetes. And they said that it would be beneficial for me. But I went against some of what the coaches believed, and I'm happy with my decision. And it's honestly, if you control your diabetes, that's the biggest thing. So I had a lot of support though. And when I got older, into my, I guess, 14 and above, my teammates were all kind of understanding. It was different for some rookie parties though.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you ever experienced that, but usually at rookie parties, they make you drink kind of thing. It's like a initiation. But I was really fortunate enough to have good vets that understood my situation. And they were like, you don't need to drink. And they told the whole team, you don't need to drink. It's up to you whether you want to participate or not in these activities. It's just to be fun and have a good time. And so fortunately, I didn't have to do any of those rookie activities that some people you hear about on the news. And so I was really fortunate to have that.
Yeah. That's awesome. Right? Like it is such a hard topic to kind of talk to about, and like I definitely had those same situations and some pros and cons. But I think like being open about it and just talking about it and making it more comfortable and like educating, I think that like significantly helps not only like your bond with your teammates, but also like you're being comfortable in the dressing room or wherever you are. So, um,
Yeah. Also think as well, like the coaching aspect, if you open up to your coach, like when I first got onto, so like in tryouts, I got accepted to Notre Dame Hounds there. And they were like, yeah, like we'd love to have you, all this stuff. I said, look, I'm a type 1 diabetic as well. I control my diabetes and I have great control of my levels. I just want to let you know that it won't affect me at all and that this shouldn't be a hindrance. And they all like understand when you kind of put it in your own perspective and explain how it doesn't hinder your performance. You just have to manage it and
yeah.
watch it. A lot of them understand that. And I think now with more awareness around type 1 diabetes, it's a lot easier for people to say that. When you're younger, there's a lot of people that don't believe it and there wasn't enough awareness around it. So now
Yeah.
it's a little bit easier for children to go up in the ranks in sports.
Growing up now with the technology we have, like I just started on a Dexcom like a year ago, and like if I had that growing up, like I would be like it'd be day and night.
Yeah, literally. I completely agree. If I had that growing up, I'd be unbelievably a lot more ahead of where I'm at right now.
Yeah, yeah. But I think it like definitely like it made me a lot stronger. I feel like I'm a lot more in tune with my body, even like now post like athletic career. Like I'm still doing those habits that like maybe I didn't have before. So Yeah. So with that too, like, having those coaches telling you can't compete at this level because you have diabetes, or even teammates maybe they're looking down on you. I think that's like something you go through adversity, and for you, I think like you're so inspiring, and like you're such a great guy, but you had a tremendous injury, and you're still kind of going through like recovery. How do you kind of like get back and like keep that mentality and like getting better, and what has been key for that, and what would you have any advice for overcoming injuries?
Yeah, so for me, I'll just go through the injuries I suffered. And so I was in the Humboldt Bronco accident, for those that don't know, and I suffered a fractured skull and puncture wound in my skull as well, a D11 in my head. So I am balding, but part of it is due to the accident, so I'll give that some credit. But yeah, D11 on the side of my head, and I also had a severe brain injury, broken vertebrae in my neck and broken vertebrae in my back, blood clots, and ear bleeding as well. So I had quite the extensive injuries. But the one thing for me that helped me throughout it, I honestly think diabetes played a part in it. There's a lot of adversity faced with diabetes, and you have to obviously be a warrior with a diabetic and have your own challenges. So I feel like that had a bit piece of resilience in me. But the one thing that I could recommend to people is to focus every day on the little things. So for me, it was like those little improvements. Like one day I couldn't get out of bed. The next day I was able to get out of bed. It's those little steps that make the big picture.
Yeah.
And also have a goal down the road. So like, look at the little steps, but also have that big end goal. So for me, my goal was to get to university in September. And so that's going to happen in April. I had lots of doctors, once again, kind of the coaches scenario, tell me I couldn't do it. They said that you're going to fail in school if you go to Toronto. I was already committed verbally to York University before the accident, so I had that already set. But they said if you go, you're going to fail. You like honestly should not be leaving your home. You should stay at home, take one course, and just sit at home and heal. So I kind of took it for what it was, took it with a grain of salt, and obviously it was their perspective, and I know how I was feeling personally. And my drive and goal was to get to York in September, and I ended up achieving that goal. And so it took small steps though daily, and that was the process that I took, was look at the next step, find the positive in that step, and then continue on the next day, find that little positive that day, and then continue on. So I think finding the positive in every situation is huge.
Yeah.
For me, that was one piece that I could tell people to do.
I got like goosebumps. Like that's so like amazing, and like even now, like you're doing such a competitive major. You're like high on your academics, and you're still balancing being a student athlete of doing all the workouts, being on the ice, and I think that's like just incredible. I would be so honored if I ever was your teammate, because you're such a role model. So so far, like, how has COVID impacted your life?
Right now, I've been at home for a while. I haven't been going out anywhere. I actually had a social gathering. It was like the first time ever I left the house for a social gathering, and the limit is 10 people, so there was 8 of us there. And I didn't like it at all. I was with all my buddies, but like we were all social distance in the backyard, but
Yeah.
I just didn't like it. It felt super weird, super kind of like awkward. It was just it was a weird experience for sure. So it's definitely impacted my life, because normally in the summers I come home, we have like a summer get together where everybody gets together that come home from all different areas. We have people in uh Vermont, like I guess eight eight different states, overseas in Europe. We have people from all over Canada too that come back to Saskatoon, and that's like where we're all from.
Yeah.
And so mostly are athletes. And so it was really, really weird where we had our kind of get together, but there was only like 8 of us. And it was just, yeah, it was a different situation. So normally we have like get together, and normally I hang out with them. We go do activities like go karting or go out for supper. So like it's way different now. And so I've been connecting through social media and obviously Zoom or FaceTime, those kind of things, texting. So our group chat on Snapchat is another big thing that we like to use. So I think that's nice. But it's also difficult because I'm not able to skate, and I'm not really able to skate during this time as well. So and work out at the gym too. So
Yeah.
it's definitely a little bit different. I don't go shopping. I don't really do much. I went and helped my girlfriend on her farm. So I guess I'm a farm boy now with wings from the city.
Yeah.
So uh, I guess, yeah, it's different, but I think you can find the positives in it. A lot of things for me that have came out of this is like being able to do new things and find new perspectives and learn more. So I think there's a lot of positives for me in this situation than the negatives, to be honest.
Yeah. I bet you like every hockey player right now is just dying to get on the ice. And honestly, like everyone asks like what's the first thing you're gonna do? And I just wanna go to the gym. Like I literally just wanna pick up a weight and I wanna socialize and I wanna get a good workout in. Like it's so weird.
Honestly,
Yeah,
yeah.
but now I'll have to call you Letter Kenny or something going on the farm, so
Oh my
yeah.
goodness.
So with this, what did you were you in school when the pandemic happened, and like were you able to finish the year or what happened?
Yeah, so I was in school at the time at York University. They ended up it was like I'd say March 15th, and once the NHL kind of halted, we halted as well, our on-campus studies, and they said that we're gonna have to now move to an online format, and so they moved every single class to an online format, and all my professors were absolutely amazing. Like for them to never have any online experience, to hop right into it and do amazing, like not even just like applicable, like they went above and beyond. They were helping us. They were so supportive. They extended deadlines. So at the time when I found it was online, I decided to go back to Saskatoon. Both my parents really were begging me to come home, and so I ended up heading out of Toronto, got my equipment, and got everything. And went back to Saskatoon for the summer. So it's been great so far. I was planning on staying in Toronto actually until the end of May, but that'll change. I had a couple speeches I had lined up. Um, I had to do some work with the team, but that all anyways got canceled. So now it's more just trying to figure out what life is like now. But yeah, it was school was amazing. They did amazing. Finals were all online. They extended deadlines, so I ended up finishing my second semester online virtually, and it went very well. I was happy with it. Had good marks. Yeah, so I can't complain at all. It was a great experience to transition back home. Definitely a bit stressful. I know with me, I know Toronto is a hotbed right now, but before it really wasn't that crazy. But my one professor who is with I guess, the government and military in Canada, he's very high up in there. He was saying how like this is going to take over the world. It's not going to be just a pandemic in China. It's going to take over the world. And so as he's saying this, it keeps on spreading and spreading. And then sure enough, it made it to Canada. So yeah, it was quite difficult, but it was good. I was being prepared and proactive about the whole situation, and was happy with how I handled it. I ended up driving back home, had my vehicle there, and Lysol wiped every single thing I touched. And yeah, it was good. I was safe and healthy. So.
Yeah. Well, so even like being at home and maybe having a little bit more free time, and you already started a little bit of farming. Have you been working on anything new or like learning new hobbies or anything?
Yeah, so one thing I guess that's been kind of different for me is I've been learning how to work Zoom properly. Like actually though, because this is like completely different. I've never really been on Zoom before, and now it's like the norm. So I'm actually starting to get pretty good at Zoom. I've been attending different seminars online or webinars, I guess, online, and I find them extremely interesting. I've attended a couple of Cairo ones, so I think that's super unique. And I've also been trying to cook different things, expand my repertoire of cooking. I actually like to cook for those out there. I'm just not as good as I'd like to be. I want to be a gourmet chef, but I'm not there yet. I think
Yeah.
I'm somewhat in the middle. I can make some nice dishes, but not the best dishes. So
Yeah.
uh, that's some of the things I'm trying to expand right now. And then also been extremely busy with our team. We have workouts that we have to do 5 times a week. And then I also try to rollerblade every day or every second day. So I've been really, really liking the rollerblading because one, it keeps me in shape. It's good cardio. But
Mhm.
two, it simulates hockey. And so it feels like I'm skating, but I'm not really skating. But I'm still getting the movements, the motions, and the obviously endurance in your legs. So yeah, it's working out really good for those things.
Do you have any advice for people living with diabetes as they're quarantining?
Yeah, so one thing for me would be now is the time. And that's kind of like the statement that I've been using for this quarantine idea is that now is the time for people that have been putting off things, such as like spend time with family or their social life or anything like projects, do it yourself projects, home renos, lots of things that you can do. Now is the time. I know a lot of people are like, oh, I never have time for this, never have time for that. Well, now is the time that you can have that time for yourself
Yeah.
and to better yourself, to better others. And so I think that's like one of the big things is especially sports, those are hockey players. What you do right now will pay off in the future. I know for lots of people, they're just kind of hanging it up and be like, oh, I'm bored. I have nothing to do. But you could literally find a lot of things to do in this time. Like I've been stick handling in my free time. And I love stick handling, but when you have school and you're a student athlete and you have other demands and other things you gotta do, it's hard to stick handle at the arena for 30 minutes before practice or after practice. And so for me now I can stick handle for an hour a day and still like have good hands. So I think it's just the little things that you can work on right now to improve your game or to improve your life. And so I think that's one of the aspects is now is the time.
Your Diabeauties. So, like, how did you even start this?
So I guess I started it in Humboldt, but I'll give you some backstory. So when I was younger, I wanted to give back, and I was working at care homes with my parents as a volunteer, and I knew I wanted to be more involved in the diabetic community because I wanted to help people like myself. And so growing up, I never really had that positive influence in my life. I always kind of try to look for somebody, but people would say Bobby Clark would be a good influence, but he was kind of past his era. And Bobby Clark and I are good friends now today, but at the time, I really didn't have that person to look up to. And so I wanted to start this program, Dahlgren's Diabeauties, because I wanted to have that role model and be there for children, just to talk to and support, because I never had that in my life. And I wanted to have a support of a type 1 diabetic in my life, but wasn't able to. So now that I have this program, I'm able to support children with type 1 diabetes and kind of be a mentor for them and just be there for questions that they have that they don't really want to talk to their parents about or issues that they might have that come up that they need help dealing with. And so it was more of a mentorship program and to help them out and also to spread awareness too. I go to schools once they're diabetes, their school, and I do a speech at their school. And I know if I had a person come into my school that had diabetes, I know it would have helped me a lot. And so I wanted to do that for them and kind of had be that person that I wanted in my life.
I think that's the reason why I'm so involved too. Like, I've didn't have any like athletics, role models who had diabetes, and also like female athletes. And like I did follow along with Bobby Clark, who's also your era, and then now you have Max Domi, who's doing so much. But even with those two guys, I've yet to meet them, and I always see them from the outside. So like trying to get involved in the community so other people don't go through kind of like the same loneliness of not having something, that goal to strive for, someone to look up to. And I think for you to do that, like, that's so incredible of you starting it. So with that, like, what has been like your favorite connecting moment so far?
Yeah, so I'd say probably oh boy, there's a lot. I've been to various events. I went to Diabetes Camp, Dskate. I've been to JRF events. I've been to lots of diabetes events throughout Canada. Even like I Challenge Diabetes, another one. So I'd say, personally for the Diabeauties, I'd say my favorite one is either the first ever Diabeauty in Humboldt. That was like a super cool experience. Yeah, it was awesome. Duke was my first Diabeauty. He's from Humboldt, and so I think that was a pretty cool. Just kind of have it all started and then how it exploded afterwards. Or back in Humboldt on our Mark Cross Humboldt Strong Tour, I had all my Diabeauties at the time that were able to attend the event come out on the ice and then introduce another Diabeauty. And that was like the first time I've been back on the ice in Humboldt after the accident. And so I think that was another super special moment was have another Diabeauty announced in the place where it all started for York University now. And so I think those were like the top two things, events that are super memorable to me. Um, and then also probably for the diabetic event, oh boy, like I couldn't even put one on the map. I couldn't name one that really stuck out. That was like the best because they're all amazing.
Yeah.
All of them were amazing. Just the fact that I'm able to connect and talk to other diabetics and be there for them and them be there for me. It's a two-way street. Like you think you're giving back, but they give you so much back too. And so any event that I've attended has been amazing.
That's awesome. Say someone just got newly diagnosed and they're an athlete. Do you have any advice for them?
Yeah, I'd say to always pursue your dreams and passions and never let diabetes get in your way, and to also manage your diabetes and not let it manage you. So those are like the two kind of statements that I try to tell new people with diabetes is that uh, you have to first manage your diabetes, because if you don't take control of your diabetes, it's going to completely take control of you. And so you can't be a competitive athlete if you have bad levels, because if you're always low, then you're never going to be playing. And if you're always high, you'll never be playing to your elite level. So I think that you always have to find that balance in the middle, and also to not let it stop you. I know there's a lot of people now out there who are inspirational, like yourself, Max Domi, like Bobby Clark. Those guys are playing elite level. You're all playing elite level hockey. And so I think to have that kind of support, and it's not just hockey, there's other athletes in soccer, football, John Chick, like there's tons of people that have diabetes that have played elite levels. So now there's that kind of awareness out there. So to make sure it never lets you stop you from achieving your goals and dreams. And I think that's another big piece.
For tuning in to Dskate Presents Game Time, Episode 1 with Kaleb Dahlgren. Our thanks to Kaleb for stopping by. Be sure to follow Kaleb on Twitter and Instagram, and don't forget to like and subscribe to Game Time for more sports and diabetes content. On behalf of Dskate team, I'm Vanessa Gamble. See you at next Pucks Drop for the next episode of Game Time. Cheers.